What's going on YouTube? JT is Reborn here, and welcome back to another edition of my DC comic reviews. And in this video, we're talking about Batman Detective Comics issue number 1090. This one is written by Tom Taylor with artwork by Mikel, Janín. And this is the start of the new era of Detective Comics. After the whole Ram V thing went on for a while, I'm looking forward to something that's kind of a bit of a fresh start. So after this, I'll also be talking about the Nightwing issue that came out today, which is kind of crazy. Like, I thought they would wait a little bit for the new era of Nightwing to start. I mean, we just ended Tom Taylor's thing, but now we're jumping onto his Detective Comics, and then, you know, the newest issue of Nightwing is like a new era of Nightwing. So a lot of new jumping on points for creatives, and I think it is definitely needed for a lot of the titles. And Detective Comics is one where automatically within the first issue, I am actually pretty hooked of what they're going to do. Now, I don't know how the execution will be, but I think this is a really strong first issue by Tom Taylor and Mikel, Janín. So Tom Taylor did try to do some things in Nightwing where try to like go back to like the past of sorts to Dick Grayson. Then we brought in like his sister, which is still something I'm kind of iffy on. I didn't really think it really worked out all that much. But what they do with this one feels like something that could very well have happened within, you know, Batman's many, many years of continuity. It doesn't contradict anything, but in a way it kind of adds something interesting. And I actually kind of like the big reveal that we get like at the end of this thing. And hopefully it pays off really well, because I'm like, oh, okay, well, that's actually pretty cool. So in a way that actually makes it kind of stronger diving into the origins of Batman. But we'll get to that in a second. So we kind of flash forward a few weeks from now, and Batman's whole thing is he's not going to let people die if he's, you know, given the choice to. Like, no matter what, never like compromise your ideals. It's kind of something he learned from his father, where like his father, like, as a doctor, his thing was to try and save everyone, even people who may not necessarily deserve like the same bit of sympathy because they weren't like the best of people. So we're flashing forward to that. Then we flash back to many years ago, and it's Thomas Wayne who's trying to rest and take it easy. You have a woman here who was beaten by her boyfriend. She's like getting ready to give birth, but the boyfriend is in a state where he could die unless Thomas like doesn't operate on him. In which case he took an oath he's going to do his best to try and save somebody's life, because that is the right thing to do. So the woman gives birth, and she's really terrified about the whole situation. Because like I said, she's like from an abusive relationship. She knows the guy is probably going to come after her, doesn't want them to know that the baby is alive. And so Martha Wayne is there, who comes in, and we get to see her caring, compassionate side there, and she's able to kind of like a, not quite, it's something kind of like a witness protection type thing, like this foundation for like runaways, and, you know, there to kind of help somebody who's in need. Bruce kind of listens into the conversation a little bit too, and he talks about if we can save a life and we don't, what would that make us? So like, just all this stuff is imprinting on Bruce at a young age and just carrying its way through to adulthood, which ties back into kind of like the present day. So there's a kid who's 17. He ends up shooting some guy at a security at a store. Batman goes to kind of save the guy. He does plant something on the kid so he can kind of keep track of him. He did punch the kid. But that's because, like I said, he just fired a gun on someone. And then, of course, you have some mysterious figure kind of watching over. This is the figure we saw earlier on in the issue. And so once he kind of helps protect the one guy who, like, treat his injuries, he goes after the kid. But then he finds that he dies. And he's, of course, like, kind of disappointed in himself how he wasn't fast enough to kind of save this kid. So there's some stuff that definitely reminds me a little bit of, there was a Batman Beyond episode where Bruce is older, and like Talia comes to him, and well, Talia, like Ra's as Talia, that whole fiasco. But it's him kind of like coming to terms with like being older and wishing he were younger and could do kind of more. That's kind of what we got going on here. Is like, if only I was faster, I could have saved him. Like, even though this kid shot somebody, I guess they nearly died, and he's, you know, has like a criminal record, Batman's still imprinting on like what his father had showcased him at a young age, was like, we have to try and save everyone, even the ones who may not necessarily deserve it. We have to, like, what good are we if we don't save somebody's life? So I guess that's gonna be the conflict of this story arc here. So then he goes to a Wayne charity event, and we see the child, the baby who was all grown up, the one kind of at the beginning of the story, who was the daughter of the lady who they like rescued, who was beaten by her boyfriend. Now, we do eventually find out who that boyfriend was, and let me tell you, like, that actually like is a pretty crazy reveal. So Scarlett Martha Scott, I guess Martha is, you know, in line of like Martha Wayne, so like she's somebody Bruce knew as a young age, and he comes in there, and there's some genetic stuff going on that kind of makes people a little bit younger, but it's based around science, not magic. So Bruce is kind of in a, that's more of my wheelhouse. Let me go and utilize some of this stuff. So then, of course, we see the guy like years ago, and he's kind of crazy. He had these burn marks on him, and like he's ready to kind of get discharged, but Thomas Wayne's just like, security can handle the situation. Go ahead and discharge this guy. Discharge Joe Chill. And as you know, Joe Chill was the guy who killed Batman's parents all the way back when. So the idea of Thomas Wayne saving the life of the man who would ultimately kill him, I like that's a crazy concept right there. Like that's a really awesome kind of reveal right there. Really kind of going like I think the story's going to really kind of test Batman's whole like, should I save everyone type deal. But then of course I think Batman being Batman, like he's kind of above a lot of that stuff, and it's still the right thing. It's still the superhero way. Like even like the characters who do so many reprehensible things, like we got to like we still should try to help people. So I really like this issue. I thought this is the best thing Tom Taylor has written in a while. I think switching from Nightwing to Detective Comics, like you got to start out strong with the story arc, and having a reveal like that and tying it back in, but without like something that feels so outlandish in terms of like how it ties into continuity. Because Thomas Wayne's a doctor, he's operated and saved many lives, but the idea of him saving the person who ends up kind of killing him later on, I don't know, there's something really just like a real emotional kind of gut punch, and that kind of adds something interesting, but doesn't really like take away. It doesn't feel so out of place like when the whole Melinda Zuko like was Dick Grayson's long lost sister thing. Like that one was like, hey, you have like 70 plus to 80 years of continuity. Now all of a sudden we have this, like, I don't know if it quite fits, but this thing actually feels like something that could legit work, and I actually wouldn't mind seeing this kind of integrated into more of the Batman continuity, because like that's such a neat idea. I'm surprised nobody really thought of that beforehand. But again, kudos to the team behind this, kudos to Tom Taylor, kudos to Mikel Janin's artwork, which I think looks fantastic. Like just the different styles in that too. Then you have this villainous threat going on here. Now I know like I'm trying to like play like the idea of like, the girl that they did save, they did showcase she was like beaten by her boyfriend. I wonder if they'll try and do something, because like you have this mysterious drug thing that she cases to Bruce, kind of helping him out. I wonder too if like the villain that we're gonna see is like the girl's mom or something like that. I don't exactly know, because he's somebody who kind of watching over knows who Bruce is. We'll have to just kind of wait and see with this villain as they kind of reveal more as the story goes on. So, but I almost wonder if like, maybe they're responsible for the ones that we saw at the beginning, like it's the mom that they rescued, like, or the girl that we see here with Bruce. So those are potential suspects. But then again, like Joe Chill, I don't know if like, because Joe Chill, it's kind of gone like a few times. Like I say, he was just kind of a crook that was just kind of like, it depends on how they want to portray Joe Chill. Is he going to be somebody who's just bloodthirsty kind of killer from the get-go? Like, is he just going to be somebody who was just kind of like desperate, that just kind of like is just a petty crime? Are they going to portray him as somebody who was an abuser to his girlfriend? Or what if he's set up for something? So I mean, that's still a possibility, but like at face value, we're going to take it as, yeah, I mean, he's somebody who still killed Thomas and Martha Wayne. Not exactly a good guy. But again, it just depends on the take they're going to go with Joe Chill. So like at face value right now, yes, he's the one who did that stuff, but you could always have things where a character, is just trying to get away from somebody and can stage something. So not to say that's going to be the case. Probably not, but that's just an idea I'm thinking in the back of my head in case they want to go in that direction. So, but all things considered, I really like this issue of Detective Comics. After that really long arc that we just got with the whole Orcam family, like this one feels like a good fresh jumping on point. It has an interesting hook to start. There's some good looking artwork, and like I said, I was a little iffy, like how are they going to play in with the Wayne stuff in the past without really kind of feeling like a major retcon or anything that feels kind of out of place. But this is something that I actually think is a good idea that actually kind of works out pretty well for the story that they're trying to tell. So really good first issue. Looking forward to seeing what they do with it. I hope they continue this momentum, because I want really good Detective Comics stuff, and this felt like a breath of fresh air after like several like after that really long storyline. This feels different. It doesn't feel like it's like really picking up where that one left off or the fallout of it whatsoever. it just feels like anybody can kind of jump into this storyline. So that's one aspect I did kind of like about it. I was like, oh, yeah, the Orkham stuff, like, oh, I don't know if we'll ever acknowledge it, but here's a fresh jumping on point for Detective Comics. So again, friendly for new readers, and I think they did a pretty solid job with this thing. So what did you think of the issue? Post your comments down below. Be sure to like this video, share it with your friends, subscribe to the YouTube channel for more content, hit that bell for notifications, all that other fun stuff, and I will see you all in the next video, which will probably be Nightwing, and then we'll try and get to Green Arrow and Superman and all that other fun stuff today at some point. So, all right, take care now. Bye-bye then.